All right, what's going on? Hey, everybody. All right, we're gonna talk about um I want to I want to break down a little bit of information about this idea of a 50-year mortgage. I want to get your take on it because I would love to start a conversation to hear what you have to say, but I want to walk you through some things that can help you understand how mortgage companies work. And this is going to tie to a bigger picture. So, although we're talking about the housing department, um, hey, what's going on, SD Washington? Although we're talking about housing, it's going to make sense to your wealth building capabilities. And so, there's a few things that I do want to share concerning this. And I think it's going to be very, very valuable. And it's something that you have to pay attention to. Now, right now, today we're we're looking at crypto. I think Bitcoin just got below 92. I was trying to look at where we were with that. Um, there's some, yeah, we got some low points happening right now. I know XRP dropped down to $2.12 earlier as I think the low of the day. But we're gonna see we're gonna see where this goes. I'm long. I'm not afraid. I know a lot of people are. They just did an interview with Tom Lee earlier, and let's see if he's right. Let's see if he's right. Felt like forever. Thanks, Aura. Let's see if Tom Lee is right. What he said in this interview this morning is that he felt like this week ETH will bottom out. So let's see what happens with that. Meanwhile, hit that like button. Yeah, yeah, hit that like button. Meanwhile, XRP did uh a record for the top performing ETF in 24 hours for 2025. I think it tapped at like 59 million in one day. And so it's the top performing ETF of 2025 so far. Hit that like button and share this video because I want to talk about something that is going to be extremely pertinent to where we're headed. And I want to give a little bit of psychology behind what's going on with this 50-year mortgage. Also, I will be on after this. I'm going to go into my membership group and do a little Q&A and just hang out for just a little bit after this and see if there's any questions or anything. Which ETF? XRPC. All right. Canary Capital came out with an XRP ETF and it did do better than Solana's. The brilliant thing about this is that Canary Capital is not as large as some of the other ETFs that came out that launched. And so by them being such a small company and still hitting a record breaking day for them for 2025, I think there was a total of around, don't quote me, but somewhere around 900 ETFs that came out this year, and they broke the record on that. So I'm loving the market right now. Yeah, yeah. I, I always say like I for me with the market being so frothy, I was kind of scared to invest in it in a sense. I was looking I didn't feel safe. Okay. I was like, this thing gotta pull back a little bit for me to put some, extra money in there. So I'm actually happy about it. I bought some Granny today, GRNY. I bought some ETFs today. And I've been buying some ETFs on the pullback days. And I also bought some I bought a few things. I bought a little Netflix. Netflix, you see, Netflix have divided their shares now. So they're at 110. So I bought a little Netflix today. These are long-term holds for me though. And then I bought some Google. And I'm sure we may get some better prices for Google. We'll see what happens. It could take off. But I put that in my Roth IRA. So I'm long Google. Okay. So I wasn't worried about it, but I'll buy some more if it pulls back. And so I'm setting things up. Okay, setting things up. I bought my baby girl. What did I buy her today? And then we're gonna get into this conversation. I bought because I matched her. She gave me some money to put in her brokerage account, and so I matched her. So I bought her some apple today. So I bought her some apple today. I put some apple in there, but I've been doing some ETFs, and I also have some limit orders set for crypto. It's been set for quite some time, and maybe those numbers will get hit. Some of them have already gotten hit, which I love when my orders go through. All right. I wish I wasn't. Oh, it's all good. Someone said they wish they wasn't living paycheck to paycheck because they'd be buying up. Listen, you can do slices. You can do slices. So if you want to put $5 in a stock, you can do that. So I don't want you guys to think that it's about having a lot of money. I just told you my daughter bought some. Y'all, she ain't got no money. She ain't got no job. She you know what? And she can I promise y'all, I want to show y'all something. Okay. So y'all can just not be overwhelmed. Okay. My daughter did give me some money this weekend to put in her stocks, and she came back in today to give me some money to put on her stocks. Let me show you because it's actually sitting right here. I kid you not. How much money she gave me for me to put in her stocks tomorrow. Stock slices. Okay. She ain't got much money, y'all. This what she gave me. That's it. This $2. She said, "Can you put this in my brokerage account?" I got a custodial account for her. So I'm saying it. I'm happy you said that. That's it. You can put $2 in a stock. You can. So I'm just saying that to say, I mean, she don't really have a lot of money, but she just gave me some this weekend. But what I told her is the principle of anytime you get money, I don't care if it's $5, $10, put something for yourself into your future. So maybe she got $10 or something and she decided to put 20%. Okay. So I said I will put it in there. Like I can throw $2 on Apple or whatever, but $2 plus $2 plus $5 plus $10. If you just consistent with it, I mean, she's younger, so she has time on her side. I put $5 in one of my accounts daily. Yeah. I have some stocks that I put $1 a day, $5 a day, $10 a day, so much a week, so much a month. Like I have different, and then I have times where I'm just buying heavy. There is no such thing as too small. And the reason why I do that is because I want to practice what I preach. That's the reason why I actually turn on an automated recurring amount to put $1 a day into stocks. Okay, so I have Webull and I have some stocks where I put $1 a day in. Now I got different amounts, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying I'm practicing what I preach. And it's not a lot, obviously, and but I do it just because I want you to know you can do it. Okay. And I don't think there's anything too small. I just don't. So I want to make sure that you guys feel encouraged by that. Okay. Lisa said, go ahead, baby girl. I don't use the Acorns app, but I know a lot of people who do, and they have a nice amount in Acorns app. So I always suggest, a brokerage account, Fidelity, Charles and Schwab for long-term plays, but also for beginners, Robinhood is real easy to get started with. I like Moomoo, but I use Moomoo for trading. I like Webull as well. Vanguard is so old school. I got some stuff in there, but it's not, most people wouldn't like it. It's yeah, it's old. But I like Vanguard, the company. I like their ETFs. I've been using one of your mini strategies. Here we go. Went out to dinner with friends and chose the cheapest meal and put the difference of what I would have paid into stocks. I love that. And I think that that's something that all of you all can do. Even if you tell yourself, set a standard, like, okay, whatever I eat, I got to pay 2 times myself into stocks, or let me do a half of, I'll go for a cheaper meal and put the rest into whatever the system is. Make sure you're doing that. Okay. All right. Let's talk about I want to hear your thoughts on, because I want to get into this. I want to hear your thoughts on the 50-year mortgage. First of all, have you all heard about the idea for the 50-year mortgage? And I don't know the motive or intent. I can't, speak on that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they trying to get prices low. I don't know, or maybe it is to make. I don't know. Okay, I'm not here to judge why it was created or thought of, but I'm just here to get you to understand. Even Corey said it's a trap, and I believe it is a trap, and I'm going to explain to you. Let me put both of these on there. I don't think it's a good idea. Um, and then Corey said it's a trap. So I want to explain something to you so you can understand how mortgages work. And I think this just going to make you be able to think better and be a better investor, because this is going to play out in a lot of different ways. Okay. So first of all, whatever I say is not financial advice. I'm not telling you what to buy, hold, or sell. I'm not telling you, what to purchase, how to purchase it. Talk to your financial advisor. Everything I say is for educational purposes only. Okay. And but I want to explain some things to you because I don't think a lot of people understand this. First of all, is a 50-year mortgage insane? Y'all know that's a half a century, by the way. Do y'all realize that's a half a century? Anyway, yes. I think it is a terrible idea. Okay, even if you paid off early, it's not a good idea. That's what I am. I'll put that up. Um, okay, so is it a terrible idea? I'm gonna give you my absolute thoughts, and it's gonna shock you. It's gonna cause home prices to go up because you can afford more. Yeah, I mean, it's a trap. But let me explain something to you, because with my psychology background, I understand human behavior. So it is a terrible idea. And I'm going to give you the math, and I'm going to help you to understand how mortgages work. Somebody said we have I am Trashia. We have a 40-year mortgage, and they are not popular at all. Yeah. Yeah. Um, so, okay. It doesn't matter. This is what you got to realize. It doesn't matter if it's a bad idea. I think people will possibly still use it. Now, she said that they don't really use the 40-year mortgages. They're not popular. But it's all about marketing. A lot of people don't know that the 40-year mortgage exists. Okay. So people are still going to use it. It's definitely not going to work. It will be an epic fail. If it's a failure, then it's a failure. I would love for it to be a failure. If somehow this gets pushed through, people will use it. And the reason why is because if bad financial ideas stop people from using the product, the offer, whatever, casinos would be empty. But casinos have some of the nicest hotels in the world. They're making bank because they understand something most people don't want to admit about ourselves, and that's that we miscalculate human nature. We miscalculate our own nature. And that's why I say I study human behavior. But I want to help you to understand, if it's pushed and if it does pass, people will probably still use it. Now, I don't know how that works for investors and stuff like that, with getting prices and paying extra on the principal. I'm not sure, but this is insane. And you're and anybody who even probably considers this, it's just insanity, if you ask me. Now I want you to know how, hit that like button. I want you to know how mortgages work and why the math favors the bank, because some people know this, but other people don't. And I don't want to assume that you know this. And I want to help you to understand how it connects to a bigger picture about ourselves. So let me explain really quickly how mortgages work, okay? Because I promise most people just don't know. Um, and they just don't understand it. All right. And it's just by design. Now, back during the housing crisis, with all the subprime lending that was taking place, people didn't understand adjustable rates, balloon payments, or what it meant to be underwater on their mortgage until they were all the way drowning. That's just what it looks like. If you're looking to build wealth, it will take way longer. Yeah. Um, and then and look, when you're a think about this, if you're a teacher, a nurse, a cop, a hospital worker, a construction worker, you're working. You're working. You do not have time to get a PhD in financial products. You're tired. And sometimes when, a working person go and get a 50-year mortgage, they're going to think that the system is looking out for them, but the system, it looks out for the system. Okay. Right. And so the bank's profit is front loaded. Okay. A lot of people don't know that. Some of you do, some of you don't. In the early years of your loan, the vast majority of your payment goes to interest. Only a little tiny slither goes to the principal, what you actually owe. And the banks, they get paid first, right? So then down the line, like 15, 20 years down the line, then the balance start to dip and you start building equity. But the math is favoring the banks. By the time you pay it off, it will be, yeah, absolute. That's absolutely right. Okay. And so um think about, like, so if you got a 3,000, just to make it make sense, if you got a 3,000 dollar mortgage or whatever, you probably got, I don't know, 2,900 going towards the interest, right? You don't have anything going towards the principal. And then later on, as the years go on, after they get all their money, then you start paying down the principal. Okay. The math ain't mathing. That's right. Right. So, but here is the thing that most people don't know. Do y'all want to know how long the average homeowner keeps their home? The average, right? Um, yep, the banks are most afraid of teaching those willing to learn. They're not going to tell you this. The average homeowner only keeps their home for 12.3 years. 12.3 years, right? And of course, some is lower, of course, some is higher, but that's like the average. Okay, that number could be lower, by the way, right? So most people will move. They're gonna refind. It's I am Troshia. I'm sorry, 5 to 7 years in Atlanta. So some places is lower, maybe some places is higher, probably out in rural areas and stuff like that. But yeah, like 5 to 7 years in some cities that you're keeping. So you're just paying the bank the whole amount basically for that. Okay. And so basically what happens is most people they're gonna move. Um, they're gonna thank you so much, Danielle. Let's be honest, 50-year mortgage, most people will be dead before paying it off. Yeah, you got, how old you trying to be? 100 years old in that house? Thank you for your generosity. I appreciate you. Yeah. Like, you're gonna be old. Like, you the reality is that, okay, you need somewhere to live, of course, but let's not pretend you're building wealth in those 5 to 7 years that you're there, to 12 years or whatever. You are basically paying premium rent to a bank. That's what you're doing. You're paying premium rent to a bank. Now stretch that out 50 years. You know what I'm saying? You thinking you get more for less monthly payment. No, that's an enticement, y'all. You're just paying interest much longer, and the banks are getting paid longer. That's just it. Okay. You just paying them more money, right? It just doesn't make sense. You're feeding the bank, and the bank is taking all of the money, basically, while you think you building a future. Okay. So that's not good. All right. Now, I do know housing is expensive, rates are high. Of course, you're trying to make it work. But you got to go into decisions with your eyes wide open. And that's what I want you guys to know. I don't want you to have hope or fear. But I want you to have information. Okay. And when I'm saying hope and fear, the reason why I'm saying that is because hope and fear, they have the same effect. Both are projections into the future that you do not control. You just don't. But both take you out of the moment that you're living in. And the only control that you have, the only power you have, is over this moment. So instead of hoping that it works out or fearing that you'll never own a home, you just got to look at what's real before you. And I'm just telling you, what's real before you is that a 50-year mortgage is designed to benefit the lender and not you. Okay. I ain't even gonna get into the hope and fear aspects of life, okay? Because with hope and fear, all you have is wants and worries, and most of the wants make you worry, okay? So we're not gonna even go there. But what I want you to know is that you got to look at reality, okay? So you got to understand how mortgages work. Now, let me connect this to something even deeper, because this is how we've been conditioned to think about money, status, and wealth. And this is in a way that keeps us broke. People out here payment shopping instead of looking for the entire setup. You are so right. You are so right. How many people do you know are even this? It's not just homes, you guys. How many people you know are driving cars that they can't afford? 60 and 70,000 and 80,000 SUVs, luxury sedans, right? Got the bells and whistles. I'm not saying you can't have nice things. I'm saying most people are choosing to look rich instead of be rich. Do you want to look rich or do you want to be rich? Which one? XRP Key said you was wondering if it, absolutely, absolutely. Do you want to look rich or do you want to be rich? Because even the same thing with cars, like if you got a $900 payment for a car because you want an expensive luxury car, you could be driving something more reliable, chop that in half and do 400-500 a month or whatever, and put that extra $400 into investments, into stocks, into building an emergency fund, into a future. I think it's absolutely insane for somebody to be driving a $90,000 truck or car, or a 60, $70,000 truck or car, and they don't have 60, 70,000 in their retirement or in their brokerage account or in assets. I think it's absolutely insane. Just like I think the 50-year mortgage is insane. A lot of this stuff is insane. And we've been conditioned by our culture that values appearances over reality. We would rather look like we have made it than actually make it. Okay. And we are so engulfed in this. Our brains are so wired by the philosophies of this culture that we don't even realize we're robbing our own selves. It's us. It's us. Interest is killing people while, yeah, right. Interest is killing people while living. Um, yeah, and when you that's a good point. When you put down that extra money, you have to label it that until that is going towards the principal. Because if you don't, it's going towards more interest. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I want to be rich. I'm still driving a paid in full 2015 Kia. I love to hear, because you know what? It's some people who won't get a Kia. It's some people who won't get, or drive their car because they just want to look rich. You want to look rich or you want to be rich? Because most of these people out here is not, they just showing off. You got to put your money to work. That's right, Robert. I was listening to a show one time, and the guy had called in, and he was asking a financial advisor how can he structure his money, because he wanted to let me show this. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate this. You guys are so generous. A 50-year mortgage is like a 84-month car note, but worse. Man, praise the Lord. I paid off my student loans and got into digital assets and metals before a home. I'm 20. Oh, wait. I love it. Absolutely love it. Man, this is encouraging. I love that you guys are inspiring and sharing your stories. I love this because it goes to show you that there are some people who are doing it right, even though it's a lot of people who are doing it wrong. But being able to pass your home to your kids, home ownership. Yeah, you'll never own your home on a 50-year mortgage. You will never ever own. I mean, it's gonna take half a century for you're gonna be how old you gonna be crawling up out of here. But there was a show, and the guy was trying to get financial advice, and um he was trying to figure out how to adopt a child because he really wants to adopt a child, but he couldn't see where his finances would allow for that. And the guy asked him, "How much is your car?" And the guy said, "Well, it's worth." He was like, "How much is your car worth?" He was like 25,000 dollars or something like that. He was like, "There's your money. Sell your car. Get a whatever downgrade, and then get your adopted child." When I tell you, it was birds was just chirping, like he didn't respond. He did not expect um for the man to tell him to sell your stuff if you want to adopt a child. Which one do you want? You want the car or you want the child? And he going back and forth. Yeah, but he was like, do you want the car or do you want the child? And I'm here to ask you, do you want the car or do you want to be wealthy in the future? Do you want to leave a legacy for your children and your grandchildren? Do you want to look rich or do you want to be rich? Which one do you want? Because if you want to hold on to your possessions, that doesn't do anything for you. You're struggling. You're struggling. You're going to be struggling in the future trying to pay this stuff off because you have nothing left to give it to your future. Um, you said, and I did it wrong for years. We all have done it wrong for years. We all have, and don't, and no shame if you're doing it wrong now. I am just trying to sound the alarm because your future is waiting on you to make a move to invest in it, right? But if you're too busy trying to look rich instead of be rich, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. You know what I'm saying? And it's because people. There's a lot of people who you say you woke up now. There's a lot of people who look at this stuff as safe. Oh, okay. I used to tell people all the time because I've always been a good negotiator for cars. Seriously. Um, I used to tell people all the time, forget about what you're telling me about this monthly payment. How much am I paying for the car? Because I've been able to sit down, I would sit down and calculate for people how much they actually paying for it. They wouldn't even know how much they're paying for their car. They got like a $18,000 car, and I would have to do the math and show them, you know, you paying $55,000 for this car, like for an $18,000 car, all because you worried about the payments. You worried about the monthly payments. I wouldn't even let the mugs give me you know what, when one I was young when this happened. I was in my early 20s and I was going to get a car. It was $35,000. Yeah, it was expensive for me at the time, but I had a $10,000 down payment and I actually had the money to purchase the car in full, but I didn't want to do that because the first time I purchased a car in full before that, when I got out of college, um it didn't help my credit. And so because I paid it in cash, I wasn't, you know, I wasn't financially savvy. I knew enough to pay the car off, but I wasn't financially savvy enough to know that this wasn't going to help my credit. I thought for some reason you pay a car in cash. I don't know how I even thought that. But anyway, so when I bought the second one, I said, okay, I'm going to pay it off in 10 months so that my credit is affected positively by this. So I brought $10,000 down. So I had a $25,000 loan. But anyway, I told them, I said, I don't even want a 2% interest rate. First of all, it wouldn't matter anyway, because I was gonna pay it off in 10 months. But they was trying to give me like an interest rate of 3%. I said, no, I want under 2%, or I go somewhere else. And then I was negotiating the price. I didn't care, but they was like, oh, we can get your monthly pay. Nope. I'm negotiating the price of the car. I want the car to be this price. Okay. Or as I go and find another car. And so they told me, are you really? I think they have got me all the way down to maybe they was still over $500, right? I have XRP, I am the bank. That's right. They was over $500. And I said, um, and they was like, are you really gonna walk out and lose a deal over $500? And I said, are you really gonna lose a customer over $500? And that's when it broke. They was like, all right, let's just do the deal. Okay. Like, you ask me the question, I'm gonna ask it to you back. You gonna lose me because I can go find somebody down the street with this cash that I got to be able to buy this car. So I say that to say you got to know how much you're actually spending on this stuff. Like, again, the cars run the same. And you know what? I'm telling you, cars are one of the biggest things that make people not become a millionaire. The money that people invest in their cars, they will become millionaires if they just didn't want to look fancy. All right, fancy wancy. Okay. So XRP, he called me this morning, excited to see XRP in the red. Oh, good, good. I love it. I love it. I'm loving. I like seeing red too. That's when I buy. That's when I buy. Anybody holding crypto? I'm holding crypto. Still holding. Like I said, Tom Lee said we're gonna bottom out this week in Ethereum. We'll see if that happens. But a fancy car feels like some you know, the thing is some when they come to you and they say, oh, we're gonna make sure your payments are okay, we're gonna make sure, you know, it feels safe, you know, a low payment, you can afford it. But you know what, a lot of times what people often see as safe is actually stagnation. And what you think is risk is often iteration. Okay. Just trying something different, learning and adjusting. You know what I mean? A 50-year mortgage, it feels safe, the low payment. You feel like oh, I can got this, I can pay this off, but you're stagnant. You're locked in it for half a century, paying interest and building nothing and putting money in the bank is making you pay rent. That's it. And that fancy car, it feel like success is stagnant. That payment is locking you out of actual wealth building. You could be using that money for something else, for something that's appreciating. Okay. And so Meanwhile, the person who take risk of driving a modest car, living beneath their means, investing consistently, they're iterating, they're building. And in 10, 15, 20 years, they're going to do 50 million laps around you. Okay. 50 million. Y'all gotta, you gotta stop paying all this money for this stuff. I know you want to feel good driving in a luxury car and a name brand, but you ain't got no money nowhere else. It doesn't make sense. And I'm not speaking down on anybody. I'm not. I'm just really trying to inspire you and make you want more because the culture has engulfed you in this philosophy. So I'm just trying to pull you out. And that's why I'm being extreme, trying to pull you out on the other side of this. But I know I also know because I know human behavior. Just because something isn't financially disadvantageous doesn't mean that people won't use it. That's why I got to say something. That's a miscalculation of human nature. Okay. If logic alone drove behavior, again, the payday loans stores wouldn't exist, credit card debt wouldn't be at record highs. So I know that people are locked into this stuff. Okay. And I know that if you working 40 hours a week, 50 hours, 60 hours a week, you a janitor, a teacher, a welder, a nurse, or whoever, you don't have time to become a financial expert. You just want to provide for your family. You want a home, you want a decent car, you want to feel like you're doing okay. I get it. Okay. But that's exactly why these complex financial products get pushed on everyday people because you don't have time or the energy to see them through. And that's not right. It's not right that they do this. Right. I sold my Louis Vuitton wallet because it didn't make sense to have a $700 wallet and not $700 in my account. Y'all, I love it. If we all could just think like this for a minute. And I'm making it sound sexy because it is sexy to have more money in your appreciating accounts. I'm trying to bring the new sexy, and the new sexy is not driving around in these luxury things, having these luxury purses and stuff, and not having money. Okay, I said, and not having money. It's okay to have, but if you ain't got no money, see, it's okay. Like I was explaining this to my coaching group today, right? Not car notes. I need to learn to cook at home. I spend way too much on takeout, wasting money for real. Yeah, we got to stop that, right? We got to stop the wasting of money, right? So I was telling my group, I'm like, let me just for a second, a quick second, help you. So I said, oh, I love it. Yeah. It's so sexy to have money and investments. I was telling the group, I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with having the luxury stuff, but imagine if you had an asset and it was appreciating because you spent time to invest in it and then you borrowed against it. You borrow at a smart loan to value ratio, right? And you took that money that's not taxed, all right, because debt is not taxed, and then you put it into a profitable business, and now that business is an appreciating business, but also giving you cash flow. Now you can take that cash flow, and then you can go buy the expensive car, and then you can write the car off as a business expense because you're getting it for your business. Like there's so many different connections that you can make where you don't have to just go and just keep you got to set it up. Take time to set it up, right? Take time to set up the game plan, right? Yeah, I was telling everyone that they won't even get a decent quality people. Okay, a 5-year mortgage, and people couldn't even get a 30-year. Yeah. It's going. Yeah, the qualifications is going to be different. Okay, so there's a plan that you can have, and you can have more options if you do this the right way. But I want to have you all do this the right way. You have the passion I had with my credit channel back in the day. Yeah. Okay, so you used to do credit back in the day. I love it. I love it. And hey, if you need to get back on that, hey, it's a lot of people that need to be educated because a lot of people don't know what's going on. And like I said, I want assets and the stock market and business and cash flow and precious metals and digital currency and whatever assets, if you got art or whatever, I want them to look sexier than that luxury that you're doing. Because again, that's looking wealthy. That's not being wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't help people anymore. Okay. I get you. But we gotta reverse this. Okay. And we gotta stop spending so much money to look rich and start spending money to be rich. And how do we spend money to be rich? Investing in assets. It's just that simple. Okay. So uh get educated. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want you to do. You don't need a financial degree. You don't need to spend years studying, but you do need to understand the basics of how money works. Okay, how loans work, how interest work, how investing works. And If you don't have time for that, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? I have a, hit that like button. I haven't even, I said it once, but if you got this far and you're still here listening to me, um, for those who are on this live, please just take a minute and hit that like button. It really does help my channel. But I do have, and the links are in the description. I do have my coaching program. I can walk you through this. It is designed for busy people, people who work full time, and entrepreneurs. But people who have families, people who don't have hours to spend 10 hours, or who don't have time to spend 10 hours a day on courses and stuff like that. You get actionable content. You can learn it at your pace, and you're surrounded by people who are on the same journey as you, building wealth without all the BS attached to it. Okay. And I am accessible. I am coaching you through it. We just got off of an amazing session with just learning how to, wrap our ideas around LLCs and S corps and stuff, especially if you get into crypto and stuff like that. And you know what? Abraham Lincoln said this: if I had an hour to chop down a tree, I'd spend 45 minutes sharpening my axe. That's what education is. That's what investing in yourself is. You are sharpening your axe. Some of you are not sharpening your axe. How do you expect to be able to understand and learn this stuff? You know what I mean? Like, people who are not educated get screwed over because my people perish from lack of knowledge. Yes, it does take time to invest in yourself little by little. If you could just get 1% better every day, that's enough, right? It's not always sexy sharpening your axe, but let me tell you something: when you swing that axe, you're gonna cut clean through it. Okay, so you gotta sharpen, you gotta learn, you gotta act, you gotta invest, and don't let these philosophies that the culture brings your way rob you of wealth and freedom, because you deserve that. Okay, so again, make sure cover calls to 2026. What cover calls do you have? XRP keys. What if you get a house and with a low interest rate and pay a little bit more, each one than equity? I mean, that's a plan, but honestly, most people are not going to do that. You know what I mean? And that's why I said at the start of this video, you know, that's the intention that people have, is like, let me get the lowest payment and then let me double up. But let's be real honest. Like, most people, something winds up happening, like, and then you're not able to do that. So maybe as an investor, if you're trying to purchase different properties, maybe there'll be people who do that, but they're thinking like an investor because they are an investor. And maybe maybe they may have a plan to utilize that product. I don't know. I just know, for the average person and the person who's living in the home, that it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? Like, you may even have good intentions on doing that, but there's always something, y'all. There's always something that happens. Like, oh, this happened and that happened with my money. Like, and so if you're going to plan on overloading on the principal, why not just get, the usual mortgage payment? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not saying somebody couldn't be disciplined and do that. But once you get used to paying those small amounts and having more money, and here's the danger part: you will have, I don't know if you even have a smaller payment, because the interest rates tend to go up the longer the loan. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they're going to offer you a 50-year mortgage and you're going to have the best interest rates. If you ever look at how a loan is structured, the longer it goes out, the more the interest rates go up. So they incentivize having a shorter mortgage, or time zone with your mortgage. They incentivize it. Okay. So you can refinance. I mean, yeah, but people gonna be refinancing for the rest of their life. And again, you refinance and then you start the loan over. And then remember, you're gonna now be spending more money to the bank. I've had people ask, you why you it's hard. Why would you can't refinance something you don't really have equity in, and it works for you? If you don't have equity in it, it's the refinance is not going to help you. You're actually going to set yourself back and start over. And now you're going to front load just when you was about to get into the equity. Now you want to refinance and then front load the banks. It's just not a good idea. George said a 30-year is long enough. Most people try to reduce that to a 15-year. Yeah. And so if you get a 15-year loan, you may be incentivized with your interest rates. When you get to a 30-year, usually they tend to make those interest rates go up and then further. And then, of course, your credit and things like that matter. As I said, you're right. Your credit and stuff like that matters. But the refinancing, yeah, if you keep doing that over and over, they just gonna keep starting over. And remember, you front load your payments. So the beginning of your payments, again, if you're paying $3,000 a month, you got 29.50, and I'm being serious. You got like 29.50 of that going to the bank and $50 going to the principal. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna start paying your principal until way out after they get their money. They're like, no, you're gonna give us our money first. People don't know that when they do these extended loans. That you know, and you think after 3 years, and then you look at your principal, and they're like, how much do I owe? Let's say you started off with owing 500,000, and then you got 10 years out, or 7 years, how much do I owe? And they like 209, or I said 500,000, $495,000, and you like, what? Like, I've only paid 5,000, and then what? You gonna refinance? How are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't paid nothing, and it's like you starting over. You got to stick with it. And then if you move out again, the average person 12 years, you know what I'm saying? And then now you move and go somewhere. You only put $5,000 on your house, and you done paid the bank again. It's rent. It's rent. Best decision I ever made was refinancing my mortgage from a 30-year mortgage to a 10-year mortgage. Yep. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. You get the benefits. You get incentivized. You get better interest rates. You pay less. You got to look at how much you actually paying for the house. If you do the math, when you go from a 10-year to you're it's like, again, if you had a $500,000 house, you're not paying as much for the house at a 10-year. You get to a 30-year and you like, man, I'm paying $900,000 for this house when it's all said and done. You get to a 50-year and you like, man, I'm paying $1.5 million for, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just throwing numbers out there, but I'm just saying, just so you can understand what I mean. You're paying more for the house. And nobody's looking at that because they're looking at the monthly rate. And then on top of the monthly rate, even if you are getting extra money because, oh, I got a low payment or whatever, even though I don't think you're going to really have a low payment because, again, the interest rates are going to be higher. What you doing with the other money? You still probably not investing it. This is all about your habits and your mindset. Okay. It's a hot mess. And it is. Okay. So living through those mistakes, and mistakes are, man, they're gold. They're gold because they help us to maneuver. We learn from them. We have wisdom from them. And sometimes even some of the worst things that could ever happen to you is really the best thing that could ever happen to you. If you respond in wisdom. Okay. If you respond in wisdom. Right. So I just want to share that, so you can know how this stuff works, because again, people are not able to, the average person is not able to understand these financial decisions they're making. And I'm telling you, them banks just throw a monthly rate and say, hey, we gonna get your, how much can you afford monthly? Okay, we gonna get you down to this much a month. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know how much you're paying for it. You got a $30,000 car, you really paying $60,000 for. You ain't even know you was paying that much, because they see you wet behind the ears when you come to them. They see that you greedy and you hungry for a new car. They put you in that car. They make you smell the leather and smell, and then they show you all the bells and whistles that you don't even use. I could tell you that because I'm telling people, like, all the bells and whistles, you don't even use them. You get in that car, it's all cool at first, and then after a while, 2 years later, you're not even using half the stuff that the car could do, that they bumped up the price. But they put you in that car because it's an emotional attachment. It's an emotional decision that you're making. And whatever you think is logical with the mathematics is just your logical brain trying to justify what your emotional decisions are. You know what I'm saying? So it's really not. It's not logical at all. You're just trying to rationalize what you're doing. And you know what? It's hard to tell people this, man. It's hard. It's hard to tell people when they get emotionally attached to something that they want. When they get emotionally attached to this name brand, whatever this is, and you try to say, man, you might be missing out on a lot of money by doing this. You could do it. No, it's emotional. It's hard. So that's why I'm hoping to say something before those decisions come, because values have to be planted before you walk into, you know what I'm saying, the bank, or before you walk to get that. You have to have these values before. If you're not, if you don't have these values in you, rooted and grounded in you before, it's going to be easy to swindle you. Very easy. Very easy. Do your best to not take money out of your house. Because if you have been paying consistently for 7 or 8 years, you will start over. Yeah, you will. Unless you have an emergency or something like that, like, hospital bill. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you will start over. Now you're starting over 30 years. So guess what? Most people are paying for 50 years because they refinance over and over. They get to 10 years, then they refinance another 30 years. Then they get another 10 years, then they refinance another 30 years. And then it's like they realize I'll never pay this house off. Yep. Yep. Good night. It is better. Is it better to buy a car or to lease? It just depends. Like if you have a business and you're able to lease the car and your bit as a business expense and a write-off, then a lease could make sense if you have a profitable business that can cover the expense and you can write it off, or if you have like a fleet because you have a company and you can get there's kind of benefits and stuff that you can get from certain companies if you work with them. So sometimes it could, if you have, if it's a company that you are getting the car leased in, it can be more beneficial to lease it. It's not good to buy new cars. We all know that, the appreciation is just crazy, but just get something affordable. Get something nice and affordable. Buy your car from somebody who's older, who kept up their car, and you know what I mean? But I'm telling y'all, these luxury cars, they're expensive to buy, to get parts done on them. 5,000 here, 6,000 there, 10,000 here, 8,000. I'm telling you, these expenses are expensive too. So forget just trying to buy the car. You're gonna have to upkeep the car too. Yeah, yeah. 50-year mortgage is wonderful idea for the banks to profit. Yep, they are excited about this offer. You know what I mean? This product is going to make a lot of money for them. Yep. I made my first investment through ETF Fidelity brokerage account. Where should I invest my other 50? That's my brokerage account. Let me well, I can't give finance, anything I say is not financial advice. Everything I share is for educational purposes only. Um, but there's I made my first where should I invest the other? I mean, there's a lot of places you can invest your $50. I mean, you can invest it into um growth stocks, you can invest it into digital currency. I might need a little more specifics with that. And they refinance their home from their car's vacation and don't use any money. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you refinance it and then you still don't use the money. You're not st- you get that money and then you go on about something else, right? We got to get out of this rat race, y'all. We got to get out of this rat race. All right. Let's talk about the Franklin Templeton Spot ETF. Um you think it will do Canary numbers? Yeah, I mean, the thing about Canary is that they are a smaller company. They're the smallest of the ETFs that's coming out. And so you have Franklin Templeton, that's a bigger company. So yeah, it's possible for them to do more. I mean, Canary did the top they broke a record for the top ETFs on the first day in out of 900 ETFs in 2025. So Canary Capital did a record this year, okay? 59 million I think in ETF flows. So but they were the first, so I don't know if that had anything to do with. I mean, the first 30 minutes they had already had like 29,000 or 29 million already. So I think that the rest of the ETFs, Bitwise is coming out. I think they're going to do more. Why wouldn't they do? Like Canary Capital is like, I don't know, like these other companies are like 10, 20, 30 times bigger. So yeah, I think they're gonna do better. Perhaps. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball to tell you, but I do know Canary Capital is a very small company. And for them to do numbers like that shows the demand for XRP. It shows the demand. That doesn't mean it's gonna move the price right now. Like we need to get the Clarity Act. There's some things that need to happen. So hopefully the SEC just approves all of them right away. I mean, they coming out though. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, I did a sliver of SoFi stock. Nice, nice. I bought some SoFi last week too, because it had dipped as well. Growth stocks, okay. Yeah, growth stocks. I love growth stocks. But you gotta when you think about growth stocks, you gotta watch those growth stocks because growth stocks and tech stocks are very volatile. Very volatile. Okay. I like investing in blue chip companies and, Mag 7. And yeah, blue chip companies because I'm in it long, but growth stocks, I'm in growth stocks long too, but you just got to watch them and because they're very volatile. That's the only thing, you know what I'm saying? But like my SoFi, I'm not selling SoFi. If it dips, I'm just buying more. That's a growth stock for me, but there's, some of these growth tech is, can take a hard hit. Just know that they take the hardest hits when there's a bear market or when it falls, they fall the most. Portable mortgages. Okay, I can talk about that. I do hope BlackRock get an ETF. Let's pray BlackRock get an ETF. Um I don't think personally the bull cycle is off. I think we needed a correction. I think it's cooling off. I think by the end of the year we could still hit, the S&P 7,000. That the S&P 500. Yeah, I still think we can reach over 700. Some say 7,000. The number they the same. Okay. Do you? Yeah. So no, I don't think the bull market is off. It would have to show me that it's off. But I still don't think it's off as of now. Went to look for the link, but maybe it's 90-day health and wealth challenge is all the way at the bottom. If you scroll down, yeah, if Bitcoin hit 80K, man, people gonna be buying in. I'm just looking at some of the comments. Investing extra payments on mortgage and investment, that extra money. Which one is good? Extra payment for mortgage. I say invest it. A mortgage, guys. We got to understand the difference between a liability and an asset. We also, like, some people think that your house is not an asset. The house that you live in is not an asset. An asset is, am I making money or am I losing money? So the question is, with your house that you live in, is money coming in or is money going out? That's all you got to do. Now, a rental property or something like that, that's an asset. Okay. So we got to make sure that we limit our liabilities. I say don't even get into, and that was coming from this question. I say we don't get into no sticky situation where like a 50-year mortgage. I think the shorter ones are much better. All right. Investing is good. Investments are better. I wouldn't pay no extra payment for a mortgage. Everybody different though. Some people, this is, one time I heard a wise guy say, it's all about if you can sleep well at night. You got some people that's like, I can't sleep well at night until I pay this house off. I gotta double down and triple that. You know what? If you can't sleep well at night and that's what you gotta do, you gotta start moving money into to pay your house off. By all means, I can't tell you what to do. But to me, to put my money in an asset is better than doubling down on a liability, personally. So, and then it just depends. Every situation is not a cookie cutter, decision. Like it just depends, like what's your mortgage rate? What's your amounts? Are you able to double up and pay it off early, or can you put some of it in? I don't think nobody should ever go all in on anything, paying anything out outside of an investment, outside of also investing. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. Meaning if you like, all right, I need to pay off all my credit cards, like pay them off. Go hard, go 85, 90%, but don't stop for a year of investing because I'm just going to use all my money to pay my, no, you just lost a whole year of appreciation and investing. So I'm not the person that would say, like, take all your money and put it towards paying down something and just don't invest anything. Like some people will tell you that, like, because they want you to do it in this order. But I would always say, man, even if it's 5%, like a small, no, even if you hardcore paying off your credit card, whatever, still put a little bit because what that is that's the principle of paying yourself first. I'm not paying no bill before I pay myself. I don't care how much the bill is or what got going on. We'll figure it out. I'm paying myself first. And you got to have that principle because money is not to pay bills. You know what I'm saying? It's to build wealth. It's a tool. You got to pay money is to build wealth. I mean, it's to leverage it for wealth. It's not just to pay bills. So too many people like think, oh, I got to pay these bills. I got to pay this, and it's all consumed in your head. Like, oh, this money got to go here. No, you better pay yourself first, and everything else comes. So we'll figure it out. because, and you will figure it out, because a mindset that does that will figure it out. It's all about you becoming. Okay, it's you. You're changing you. It's not about the money, and this ain't gonna, make or break your situation at this moment. But it's teaching you something, and then you become a different person, and then you start making different decisions, and now you become the person who have creative ideas and intuition about what the next move might look like and stuff. It's about you. You know what I'm saying? So these are principles that help you. It's not, you're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not telling you like overnight you're gonna your situation just gonna change, but you gonna change, and then you gonna be empowered to help your situation change, because you got the power to change your situation, not money. You. All right. I was just looking at, I want to invest. Oh, awesome. I love it. I love what you guys are sharing. Keep your hand to the plow, and don't look back. Continue. No plans, family. One of my friends said, when I told her, I'm like, she like, I gotta start setting stuff up or whatever. And I was telling her the same stuff, just about spending too much or whatever. She was like, so basically you telling me that I need to sit down somewhere. I said, yeah, you need to sit down somewhere. She like, I could do that. Like, sit down somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Save some money. All right. Yep. Or say, I pay myself first 10%, and for those who, I pay what's due to God, of course. Also, I don't want to, put myself above God. I don't. But I'm trying to teach you guys a principle that you got to pay yourself before you start paying all the bills and stuff. So I pay God, I pay my share to, what God has required of me. Okay. And then I also pay myself. Okay. So we the first. Okay. And we the priorities. Okay. And then we get everything else done. All right. All right. Yeah. 30-year mortgage, beautiful thing. Gives a chance to save hundreds of dollars a month and invest in the rest. Yeah. I mean, that's the cap. We don't need to go more than 30, but yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna exit off. And if anybody want to join my membership, I'm going over there to answer some questions. Um, you should see the join button by the video if you do want to join. It's only $3.99 a month. But if you do want to join my coaching program, scroll all the way down. The link is in the description. It should say 90-day health and wealth challenge. And you can go ahead and sign up there. Or if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, you can book a call there. I only want serious people who are serious about that, though, to book the one-on-one. All right. Meant the 50-year mortgage. Oh, okay. No. 50-year mortgage. No. You're gonna be paying the banks more. You remember, if you go back and listen to what I said in the beginning, the first decades, you're gonna be paying all of that money is going towards the banks. So they're gonna be getting all that money. And if you decide to move, because the average person moves in like 12 to 13 years, it's gonna be like you just had a premium rent. You just paying the bank rent. All right. All right. Thank you guys so much. Hit that like button, please. If you have not already, I appreciate you, you guys for saying that and reminding me to say that. Continue to remind me, because sometimes I get so engrafted in what I'm saying. But I'll be back here to share the golden nuggets, and we're going to talk some things. I will be back to talk about crypto and the stock market. I do want to get to that. I just want to kind of share my thoughts on this today. But there's a lot of amazing things that's happening still behind the scenes with digital currency, and yeah, there's some amazing things. Stock market is taking a hit. Hey, it happens. Don't get your emotions involved. When in doubt, zoom out and think long term. I'm long term, so I'm not moved. Bought a little bit, but right now I'm just chilling out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm chilling out, waiting to see what's going to happen with the stock market. Nvidia do have earnings coming up on what is that, Wednesday, and so we'll see how they do. But after Palantir, like, Palantir knocked it out the park and still dropped. I was like, I'm like, these earnings ain't really shaking much. But we'll see what happens. I don't know what can happen, but hopefully they do well. We'll see how the market responds to that. Anyway, we'll see. We're headed towards the end of the year. And we'll see. I do believe, like I say, and that we're still gonna, end the year on top, or even going into the end of the year into 2026. I think we're still in a book. I personally think that, but maybe you don't. But anyway, anything I share is for educational purposes only. I'm not your financial advisor. You can seek your financial advisor to know more about how you should invest in this stock market. Thank you guys so much again, and I will see you guys soon. All right, I'll be back on for my members, so just give me a moment.